Smartphones have come a long way, but if you follow my channel, you would know that even the newest Apple iPhone and Samsung Galaxy smartphones create underwhelming time-lapse videos. The iPhone creates compressed time-lapse videos with a very limited 1080p resolution, and while the Galaxy may be able to create 4K time-lapse videos, its time-lapse videos are also compressed and the low-light results are not that good either. To create better time-lapses with your smartphone, download the free Blackmagic Camera App, which is available for both Android and iOS, and let me show you what additional possibilities you can unlock with your smartphone. On the Samsung Galaxy, when entering the settings of the Blackmagic Camera App, we can choose a preferred codec and bitrate. I chose the maximum available bitrate, and furthermore, we have the option to choose 8K unlike on the Galaxy's default camera app, and under color space we can choose a 10-bit color depth. And I left the time-lapse recording function enabled, of course, and set the interval to every 2 seconds. To capture the time-lapse with the best image quality possible, I chose the main camera and the exposure setting I set to auto. On the iPhone, things get quite exciting as we can capture our time-lapse in Apple ProRes format. However, our max resolution is limited to 4K. And for our color space, we can choose Apple Log, which is phenomenal as it will give us a lot of flexibility when editing. I also set the exposure on auto and selected the main camera at 30 frames per second. So here's our result captured with the Galaxy S23 Ultra and the Blackmagic Camera App. It was windy, hence the camera shake, but we can clearly see very nice detail resulting from the 8K setting, and the colors are also quite nice. However, we can see a slight loss in dynamic range in the bright sky. Perhaps if I had underexposed the image a bit to preserve the details in the highlights, I could have achieved a better result, but in overall quite nice. Now for comparison, I captured the same time-lapse with the Galaxy S24 Ultra and with the default camera app. We can clearly see that the resolution is not as good and detailed and clean as with the Blackmagic Camera App, but in overall the dynamic range is pretty good. When correcting the log time-lapse video captured with the iPhone 15 Pro Max, we end up with a wonderful result. Keep in mind that we could easily color grade this footage and further enhance the footage given the flexibility of log, but that's another topic for another video. Just by simply color correcting the footage, the dynamic range of the time-lapse looks fantastic and the resolution doesn't look too bad either. For comparison, I captured the same time-lapse with the iPhone 16 Pro Max using the iPhone's default camera app, and as you can see, the limited 1080p resolution of the default camera app when capturing a time-lapse just doesn't look that great. I did another comparison with all 4 smartphones, but this time I somewhat lowered the exposure on the Galaxy smartphone where I used the Blackmagic Camera app to see if I could get a more desirable dynamic range. Well, and here are all the 4 time-lapses. I think using an iPhone with the Blackmagic Camera app gives us the overall more consistent result given the flexibilities of ProRes log format. The Galaxy with the Blackmagic Camera app was able to retain more dynamic range in the bright sky when I manually lowered the exposure. But also keep in mind that this second comparison was captured with the ultra-wide-angle cameras of all smartphones. And while I was able to choose the 8K setting in the Blackmagic Camera app, with the Galaxy S23 Ultra, the Galaxy S23 Ultra does not actually have 8K resolution with its ultra-wide-angle camera. Now, which method do you think creates the better results when considering both resolution and dynamic range? And talking about ultra-wide-angle camera and 8K resolution, stay tuned for my upcoming videos on the Galaxy S25 Ultra.